So I'm here at the Groom Rooms in Torquay, in sunny Devon, with Mark, the owner of the Groom Rooms. I'm just going to ask him a few questions about his journey during barbering, and let's see if we can get some tips on how to succeed in barbering. So Mark, tell me, where is it you started in barbering exactly? Your earliest memory.
I started off in here, started off at a salon back home in Ireland. It was basically because we'd done a bad job on my own hair when all the bleaching and the highlights was in at the time. And so my cousin was a hairdresser at the time. My mother sent me down to get it fixed up. So that's where I started, and started by just sweeping up on the Saturdays while I was at school.
Okay.
That was the beginning, I guess.
So you formally trained? Did you go to college or self-taught?
I started off being taught within the salon itself through its own, but I wasn't really inclined to do the 4-year apprenticeship, which was the only thing available at the time in Ireland. So I went and did a private course in London with L&D. So I did that there.
And how did you end up here in Torquay?
It's a bit of a round-the-trip world. I was travelling in Australia, where I met my partner, who's from Torquay.
Okay.
So after a stop off in New Zealand and the likes.
Okay. And tell me a little bit about the shop, because you've kind of got like a vintage, retro kind of feel going on, and that's kind of reflected in the music and everything. Tell me the thought process you was going through when you designed the shop and
really, it's kind of grown over the years. It wasn't initially like that at the beginning, and it was kind of more so to meet customers' expectations as moving forward, and as trends changed and style changed, we kind of met that demand that was there. So it evolved as we all evolved, and as time went on, and it's kind of, and still an ongoing process, just like everything.
Okay. And tell me a bit about the client's experience, because I've kind of walked up and down the various barbershops in Torquay, and by no means are you at the lowest price point. Your price point is pretty much on the higher end, yet you seem, every time I come into the Groom Rooms, you seem to be packed out. So tell me a little bit about why you've kind of chosen to go for that price point, and why you think you're so much busier than all other barbers in Torquay.
I think it's really due in the detail, and again, it's about meeting customers' expectations of what they're looking for. 5-10 years ago, most guys were just getting short back and sides, and they wanted to get out of the chair as quickly as possible. And I think, they almost stopped you to the point of, okay, that's enough, when you try to do that a little bit more. Where they started to change and develop a little bit more, where they want a little bit more, they want to maybe try something different, so I think as time goes over, you got to look at what you're doing and charge your work first. And when you're putting in the effort, you got to set that price point. But again, that was a gradual thing over time, where you give the service, and the customers would expect that. So you get them to meet that really. But I think regarding price, I think sometimes it's always to give a little bit more, and to always charge a little bit more, and to stand out from the crowd rather than following everyone else. And I think but being able to know that you're worth that as well. So
it's a little bit of belief and delivering on your promise to be the best. Okay, that's fair. And earlier we was talking about hairstyles and current hairstyles and what's happening in the south, or sorry, not south, because we're deep south now, what's happening in London and what's happening on the outskirts of London. Tell me a little bit about the styles that you're concentrating on here in Devon right now in Groom Rooms for your core client base.
We're still primarily doing a lot of short work, a lot of fades, but I guess though not so much really, really skin tight. They're not as often as they were maybe 12 months ago, 18 months ago, but it's definitely still very short. With a little bit longer stuff coming in, where they're wanting to leave that a little bit longer. A lot of people seem to be growing out a lot of haircuts, top top knots have kind of started to become non-existent. Not that we primarily liked doing them as much as possible. But yeah, they're growing a lot of that out, growing out the disconnections, and that little bit of softness coming into the haircuts as well.
Okay, and in the southwest in particular, where do you think it's going to be kind of like between March and June, in your opinion?
I think it'll still carry on for a little bit. We tend to find that it's more so in the summertime when a lot of changes, maybe people are going on holidays and different times like that, where changing school times and everyone's looking for a change when the weather's nicer and they're more open to change. So I think that's when we'll see a little bit more of a change coming. And I guess it'll depend on like a lot of what's in the media or bands or whatever may be that influences current trends at the time.
Okay. Well, you're clearly doing something right based on the number of people that comes into the shop. Social proof suggests that you're doing something right. I talk to a lot of barbers, and a lot of barbers say the same thing in the southwest. They believe that it's lacking education. Will you be sharing your styling tips and will you be doing education basically?
In which sense?
Teaching other barbers how to cut, or up and coming barbers how to cut here in the southwest.
Right, okay. We do a lot of in-house training ourselves, and we do that. And I think that's very important. I mean, you do your own in-house training so everyone's on the same page. So you got a good level of consistency between everyone. So and we all learn from each other and going forward. And that's what it's all constantly kind of turning over. But there has been points where I've been brought in-house to other salons to give training, and local colleges as well, where I've done days and we're brought in to teach other in the hair industry. Yes.
Okay, but will you be actively seeking clients in the future for training?
At current stages, no. But if anyone's ever looking for that, then I'm more than happy to help people. Okay. You know, we're all in this together. One big industry pushing forward. I think it's the way things should be.
Okay. And do you have any products that you sell personally that belong to yourself?
We do create a range of beard balms and beard oils, which customers really loved, and that kind of we sell in-house, and at other pop-up events we do, and different stuff as well.
And how is your beard oil different from what's out there already, would you say, in your opinion?
Well, I'll be honest, there's a very crowded marketplace now. It's kind of grown past the tipping point. We can kind of see that decline in that little bit, but I guess it's all in the secret formula, as they all say, and that's all we kind of leave it at that, really. Okay. It's a magic little dust we shake on it that all the customers love.
Okay. And what would you say your one greatest moment has been in barbering? If you was to...
Oh, you put me on the spot now, really. That's, I guess every day, making every customer happy at the end of it. The greatest moment is that I guess each customer is happy, and that smile, knowing that they look the best, feel the best the minute they leave your chair. That's what it's about, and knowing that they almost tell you there and then that they're going to be back, and then you know you've met what they're looking for. And that's the greatest moment. That's a little moment each time. That's...
Okay, perfect. And if I was to ask your opinion on the state of the barbering industry right now, first I'll start with the positives. In your opinion, what are the positives about British barbering right this moment?
There's a lot of good things going on. There's a lot of people getting together. It was a very single-lone industry where it was single shop and nobody worked together and it was only doing their own thing. But now everyone's getting together, getting to know each other. Like I said, trainings are starting to be included everywhere up through the UK. And it's just a great feel of everyone camaraderie, you know. It's just, and that's really the good thing I think that's come in recent years. And also with social media and the pushing, there's so much happening with that, and it's easier to access now than before.
Okay. And what would you say the negatives are, and what improvements would you like to see on those negatives?
I think there's still we're still many years behind, like America, where they're licensed and stuff like that, where there's expectations to be met. And I think there is sometimes, it's kind of a grey area with a lot of things. And I think there's a lot of pushing for different things, like there's the state barbers and the barber councils and different associations and federations and everything all coming out there trying to do the same thing and moving forward. And I think that's only a good thing. And I think once they kind of put some stuff in place, I think that would be to help the negative effect on the industry where stuff isn't regulated and you get the pop-up shops that aren't looking after health and safety or looking after customers' best interests. And I think there's sides to that needs to be addressed, really. So yeah, I think that's the side of it. But also, there's also sides around the training provided and meeting the expectations of people wanting to get into the industry. There's some very short courses out there where people think once you do that, that's it. And unfortunately, that's not it. It's almost, that's just the beginning. And I think it's meeting that, letting them know the expectations of going forward. And I think that's, in my view, yeah.
Okay, perfect. And you've chosen to use American tools. Some of your toolkit is American clippers. Why have you chosen to use American clippers over English in some cases?
I think it's a case of before I was using a one-size-fits-all clipper, which was the only thing that was available. And the more varied the tool, the more options you've got to meet different styles and sharpness and different stuff and different types of texture of hair, everything. So for me, that's have more options for myself.
And what is your go-to clipper right now? Your kind of like most generally used clipper?
It varies between two. The Oster Model 10 for taking down bulk and giving me a clean pack to work with, and then the Oster Fast Feed as well. So they're my two at the moment that I use probably 80-90% of the time.
And did you try to power US clippers before the frequency 60 Hz came along?
Yes, I did try to, but I think it was the fast feed, not the fast feed, but the Andis ones.
Masters.
Yeah, they were just too much noise coming from them. Yeah, and rattles and stuff.
Okay. And what would you say to other barbers, UK barbers, considering using American tools, hence clippers and the frequency 60 Hz? What would be your direct message to them?
I think definitely give them a go. It's I think try each of them because everyone uses different and feels better for each one. Yeah, definitely give them a go. I've tried them all now at this stage, and I just find the Oster Fast Feed most comfortable for me for what I do. And exactly with the Model 10, it's a smaller clipper which works out well for my hands. I've got small hands, so that works better. But there is other ones that are bigger too. So I think it's just to try everything and get to know what works well for you and your work.
Okay, perfect. So we're on December 30th. Tomorrow's going to be New Year's Eve. Next year, yeah. What's next and what's the future for the groom rooms in Torquay?
To be honest, at the moment I haven't got a what's next yet because I've been so busy up to Christmas. I kind of sidelined everything until the new year. But I have set out a couple of days next week that I'm going to sit down and plan and strategize and know where I'm going. And I think that's very important to barbers to take some time out and actually plan out their year, because sometimes you can just get caught up on just the everyday job or social media or a lot of distractions that go on. And I think it's important to take that time out and plan your year out so you don't waste your time doing different things and really so you get done what you want to do. And yeah, definitely take the time out just a couple of days and really just plan your way forward.
Okay, so to summarise, by failing to plan, you're planning to fail.
Yes, to put a quote in there, yes. Indeed, yeah.
Well, thank you very much for taking your time to share your barbering experience with us. It's much appreciated, and I wish you the best of luck in the future.
Thank you.
You're welcome.